Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl. Today I'm talking about my 2025 goals and if I accomplish them, and then I'm going to share what my goals are for 2026. So I have my goals for 2025 here in my 2025 reading journal. My first goal was to read less because I feel like over the past few years I've been pushing myself really hard sometimes to read a certain amount every month because there's so many things I want to read, and I just want to slow down a little bit. I am a fast reader and I do get through a lot of books no matter what, but I also want to make sure that I am not worrying so much about getting all of the things read every month. And that's still a goal for this next year, spoiler, but for last year it was, and I did actually read 18 books less than I had the year before. When I first looked at Goodreads, I didn't think I had read less because the number there is higher for some reason. But when I looked at my reading journal and then looked at what I had read last year, it was 18 less. So I did accomplish that. My second goal was to finish my reread of the whole Harry Potter series. However, I did talk about this back in September, I think, and that is I'm doing the House of Humane Letters classes, and they did not do the class for 6 and 7 yet. And I decided to push off my reading of those ones until right before those classes, which will probably be this next summer. So that one I did not accomplish, but it was on purpose that I didn't. Number 3 was at least 100 books, and I did do that. Number 4 was my Agatha Christie project. I had made a list of Agatha Christie books that I had not read yet that I wanted to read in 2025, and I had them separated by decades, and I did accomplish that. There were some rereads that I had as an optional that I might reread some, and I did not do those. But I did finish all of the other books I wanted to, as well as a biography about her. Number 5 was to make it at least halfway through my American literature course. This course is, for anyone who hasn't been around a long time, this course is partly from a homeschool curriculum that I had bought originally to use for my daughters, but I didn't like it enough to use for them. But I felt like it had enough of a spine to use for myself to add in books that they didn't include and then use some of the stuff that they had in their books. And so I went through their British ones. Now I'm in the middle of the American ones. I wanted to get at least halfway through the course, and I did. I got just barely over halfway. So I'm going to be finishing that up this next year as well. So I did get that. Number 6 was to read all of the books for my Inklings book club, which is just my mom and I. And also we wanted to go on a retreat. I did read all of our books and we did go on a retreat. So I did accomplish that. Then number 7 was consistent with my journal, because there are some years when I have not been as consistent with my reading journals. I was this year 100% consistent with it. I loved it. And I really fell into my groove this year with how I lay it out, how I'm not worried about how sloppy my handwriting is. It looks cute when I start, and then it does not by the end, and I just don't care anymore, and so I've been able to be consistent with it. Number 8 was the retreat, so I already talked about that. Number 9 was I had a list of Bible studies I wanted to do throughout the year. I did accomplish all of those. And number 10 was to do at least 50% of all of the challenges that I had signed myself up to do for the year, which, if you saw my video last year, there were a lot of challenges that I wanted to be involved in last year, and I did. I got at least 50% on all but one of them, but that one in particular I kind of left off of this list in my head. It was Anne at In Search of Wonder and Charlene at Coffee and a Book. They were doing the Jane Austen 250th birthday celebration. I do enjoy Jane Austen, but I have reread a lot of her books over the past few years. And so I knew going into it that I was not going to read all of them, but I put it in here just in case I decided I was in the mood for one a particular month. I only ended up doing 3 books for this. And then my last goal for 2025 was to read 1 nonfiction per month, which I did do. So I nailed it. I think I did really well on my goals last year. I think I was pretty realistic with them, of knowing things that I would be able to do and what I wanted to do. And so that helped to accomplish more of the goals than I think I have some of my other years. For 2026, I've done pretty much the same thing. It's the things that I really want to do this year, and I think that I will be able to accomplish all or most of them. Number 1 is what I was talking about a minute ago. It is to read less again. Number 12 on here is how many books I am putting for my goal for the year, and I'm only putting 75 this year. So I know that I have read consistently over 100 books for the past few years, and I probably still will reach 100 or around there somewhere, if not over it. But I put it at 75 because I felt like that was a really good number that if I don't read as much, I still would probably reach that. Number 2 is to finish the Harry Potter reread. So that will be books 6 and 7. That will probably be late spring into the summer that I read those, and to take those House of Humane Letters classes. And then number 3 is to complete my Jurassic reading challenge. Number 4 is to complete my Michael Crichton reading, which I did have a video come up last week about that. So all of those books that I had on that list. Number 5 is at least 75% on my other reading challenges, because I got close to 75 or over 75 for all of them last year, except for the Jane Austen one. And so I decided to challenge myself a little bit with that because I have less challenges this year and they are going to be a little bit easier, I think. Number 6 is to finish that American Literature course that I started last year. Number 7 is Hillsdale College has courses that you can take online for free, and they have one that is totalitarian novels. I know it has 1984 and Brave New World, a book called Darkness at Noon, which I don't know anything about that book, and then That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis. And then they have a lecture. I think they have 2 lectures for every book. And so I really want to do that. I signed up for that, had it emailed to me. It was completely free. At some point during the year, I'm going to do that and take that class and see what I think. I've never done any of their free classes yet, but I've been hearing about them for a long time. And then number 8, I started rereading the Twilight series a few years ago. And it was because the Midnight Sun, that was Twilight retold through Edward's perspective, came out. So I read that, and I was thinking that I was going to finish rereading the rest of the series at that point, but I didn't. And so then a year later, I read Twilight again, and that did cement in me that I do like the through Edward's perspective better. I didn't really like Edward that much, and reading it through his perspective did change some things about how I viewed different people. So I really enjoyed both of those rereads, and I was going to start then going through the whole series, but I did not. So this year I decided I am picking up New Moon, and I'm going to reread the rest of that series because it has been a very long time. And then number 9 is some Dan Brown books that I own that I want to reread. There's the series that, I can't remember his name right now, but the guy that's in the Da Vinci Code. So the series that has the Da Vinci Code in it, I want to start at the beginning of that. There's, I think, 2 books in that series that I own that I haven't read yet. So I wanted to start that over at the beginning. And I don't think any of the books are connected except for the character, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So I'm going to go through those. And then I have a couple of other Dan Brown books I've been given throughout the years that I haven't read yet. And so I have them listed as well. So as you can see, I do have a big emphasis this year between my Michael Crichton books and Twilight and Harry Potter and Dan Brown books. I'm going to be rereading a lot this year. Sometimes I want to reread, and then I look at my shelf of books that I own that I need to read, and I don't let myself, but I do love rereading. So I am pretty excited about rereading a lot of books this year. And then number 10 is to again complete the 6 books that my mom and I set up for our Inklings group. And I have already finished January's book, so that I'm off to a good start. And then at some point during this year, we want to do another retreat of some kind. We just don't know, with health issues with both of my parents. We're just not sure where and when we can do it this year. So it might just be that I go to their house and stay a couple of nights and we do it at their house, and that would be totally fine. Or we might go somewhere and have my dad come too. We're not sure yet, but at some point this year, we want to do some kind of retreat for Inklings. And then I also have reading at least one nonfiction every month again. I really enjoy reading nonfiction, and I have found that having one book that is nonfiction every month is really the way I like to do it. Sometimes I'll read one just as my normal book throughout the month. What I usually do with nonfiction is that in the morning, I have a time set aside in the morning before I start most other things. This can't happen every day, but most days, where I read in my Bible, and then I will read a chapter or 2 of a biography or a memoir or nonfiction of some kind, and then I just read it throughout the whole month. There have been times when I've read a nonfiction book as, just regular book throughout the month, but most of them I end up doing this way, and I really enjoy doing that. So I want to keep doing that. The Bible study I'm going to be doing this year is The Bible in a Year with its Ascension Press. My last one for 2026 is doing the Back to Hogwarts Readathon year 3. So that will be coming up in September. The announcement should be sometime in July. And I'm pretty excited about this one. We've already talked about some ideas that we have with it. So that gives me something to really look forward to for later in the year. So those are all the goals for 2026. I'm going to go quickly through the challenges that I've decided to do this year. Of course, I have my Jurassic reading challenge. I've been really surprised at the reception this has gotten. I had no idea that so many people were going to be so excited about it, which has been so much fun. And so originally I planned on talking about it throughout the year a little bit, but as I said in the video for it, I didn't even plan it as being something to share. So when I decided I would share it, I really didn't have any ideas of things to do throughout the year to make it, more fun and interactive. But because there has been so much excitement about it, I think that I will try to figure out certain things to do throughout the year that will make it more fun. So I will have another video coming where I talk about that and some of the dinosaur books that I want to read this year just for fun. Some will fit into it, some won't. So that will be coming very soon, where I will talk a lot more about some of my plans with that challenge. And then I've already done the video about my Michael Crichton challenge. So that's all year long of reading certain books from Michael Crichton. And then I am going to be taking part in the TBR-a-thon from Leandra, the TBR Zero. I show the pages in my reading journal video, but she just does the most fun readathons. The ones in October are so much fun, the TBR Harvest. And then this is really fun. And it has kind of an outdoorsy explorer theme. Everything looks that way. And she has different game boards, so you can choose to do only one if you want to. But I printed out all 3 of them because I thought they were all so fun. So that first one was TBR Explorer. It has different things to mark off as you read something in a book, and it has genres and plots and different things, and you look for the things in your... I'm not explaining this very well. I will link her video below so you can go and watch it and see what it's all about. But there's also one that's Lost in the Library. It kind of reminds me of Clue a little bit. And so these I'm going to double up. Like, it'll just be, I can use one book for all of them if I need to. And she has also said that if there is a prompt that you don't want to do, that you don't have to, or you can change it. And so I did tweak a few of them where I knew that I didn't have anything on my TBR that would fit, but there might be something that would fit it if I tweaked it a little bit. So I did that with some of them. And then she has a map of stories one that has different places on the map that you go, and then different badges for how many prompts you can mark off with that particular genre. It's really fun. So I'm doing that one all year long with my American literature course. I'm going to be fitting that almost perfectly with Anne at In Search of Wonders, reading the classics 1776 edition this year. And there's only, I think there was one that I'm going to tweak a little bit because I wanted to do this challenge of hers, but I wanted to make sure I was using the rest of the books in my course for it. And there was, I think, one. It was the one that was a memoir or a biography. I probably will not be reading a memoir or biography that is a classic. So I put it on here that I'm going to tweak it to just be about a person, and that will fit one of the books. So I'll talk more about those ones, each month when I talk about my TBRs. I thought it was perfect that she was doing that on the year when I had exactly that amount of American classics left to read. And then the 52 Book Clubs 2026 Reading Challenge, I'm going to be doing that again this year. I like that one because it's not one where I feel like I have to complete all of it. I just fill out the bingo board as I go. I just make a board that looks like this. And then when I mark off one of the numbers, then I color it in on my board. So it's just kind of to see how many I can actually get. And then I have my Harry Potter, the Inklings, my Bible study, and then I made a to read list this year that I don't think I've done this before outside of challenges, but that has all the things I've already talked about. It has the Hillsdale course, the Dan Brown books, the Twilight books, and then a few nonfictions I want to read. And then the last thing I put in here very last minute, I wasn't planning on doing it, but I thought it was really cute. And I knew that what I'm already planning on reading this year would fit into this really well. The Well Read Collective, I don't know if she has a YouTube, but on Instagram, she announced her Wanderlust reading challenge and has this little passport right here. And it is, if you do it all, then you can get a sticker from her at the end. That's a cute sticker that she sends you to show that you finished them all. And they're just different places around the world that you read a book that takes place there. So there's a North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa, but there's also fantasy world, a road trip, time travel, outer space, an island, a missionary biography, and a dream destination. So I thought that just sounded like so much fun. So I decided to do that. So those are the challenges that I'll be planning on getting to at least 75% of this year if I can. I would love to hear if you have any really big goals for 2026, if you're taking part in any of these challenges as well. I think that it will be a really fun year of reading.